Being Prime Minister is a good gig. You get to run a country, a nice-ish house, and the ire of millions. What's not to love? How do you get the job? Hi, I'm Rowan, and today we're going to look at a few different ways people have become Prime Minister. Most elections to PM are pretty standard, but some of them are also pretty out there. John Macdonald, our first Prime Minister, both won and lost the 1878 election. To understand how that happened, though, we need to go over a few basics. Canadians don't elect Prime Ministers directly. PMs are usually a member of Parliament like their peers. For someone to become Prime Minister, at least half of the MPs in the House of Commons have to vote for them and their cabinet. This is called having the confidence of the House. This is usually based on parties. If a party has more than half of the seats in the House of Commons, a majority government, it's easy to get the confidence of the House and elect a party leader as Prime Minister. If a party has the most seats but not more than half, a minority government, then they have to cut deals with another party to get those votes. After an election, the person with the best chance to form government is invited by the Governor-General to do that. Since MPs group themselves based on parties, all Prime Ministers in modern times have been party leaders. Let's look at a few examples. When our first Prime Minister, John Macdonald, tried to reclaim the Prime Ministership in 1878, he also ran to be the MP for Kingston, Ontario, a riding he had represented for 35 years. The Conservative Party made huge gains in that election and took control of the House of Commons, but Macdonald lost Kingston itself and wouldn't have been able to enter the House of Commons at all. It's really important for a party leader or Prime Minister to be an MP, since without being able to enter the House of Commons, they must instead govern from the hallway. Fortunately for him, we didn't have that whole you can only run in one election at a time rule, so Macdonald was also running in Marquette, a small community in Manitoba, just to make sure he got a seat. As if that wasn't confusing enough, and seriously, I spent half my research time on this one bit. Back then, there was also a tradition that people accepting the role of a cabinet minister, and PM serve in cabinet, had to step down and rerun for their seats. But instead of Manitoba, he ran in Victoria, BC, and won there too. Justin Trudeau is our 23rd and current Prime Minister, and he took the most common path to being PM. He got elected as an MP and served for a few years before successfully running for the leader of the Liberal Party when the previous leader stepped down. Then for several years, he served as an opposition party leader before winning the 2015 election and being elected Prime Minister by the House, which his party now controlled. Not every Prime Minister leads their party to an election win before taking office, though. Since we don't elect Prime Ministers directly, and Prime Ministership is about the party in power, many PMs resign between elections to give the new leader time to make a name for themselves before having to go to the polls. Paul Martin was Canada's 21st Prime Minister and served as an MP and Cabinet Minister for years before the previous PM announced his resignation. Martin ran for the leadership of the Liberal Party and immediately became Prime Minister in 2003 as the new leader of the party with the most seats. Since what is important is keeping the confidence of the House, no general election was needed. We simply got a new Prime Minister. While Prime Ministers and party leaders are traditionally an MP, that isn't always true. We've even had two senators serve briefly as PM after a Prime Minister died in office and they searched for a permanent replacement. Traditionally, though, once someone becomes a party leader or Prime Minister, they try to join the House of Commons in either the next general election or a by-election. Brian Mulroney was Canada's 19th Prime Minister, and he was a private citizen working in business when he became leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. He was an outsider for 2 months until he won a by-election after an MP resigned to let him run. Mulroney served as leader of the PCs and opposition leader for just over a year before winning a majority and being named PM in 1984. Just like any political system, though, people wanting to get to the top need to appeal to party insiders, the membership, and then often the general public as well. If you dig into Canadian history, there are a lot of ways people became Prime Minister over the years, but it's important to remember that the Westminster system can be very flexible, and the rules aren't always written down. We talk a lot about the House of Commons in this video, so join us next month when we take a closer look at the roles inside it. If you have any questions or video suggestions, drop them in the comments. The thing I love about the Westminster system is that while most Prime Ministers have been MPs, they could make anyone an MP. Even me. They shouldn't. They wouldn't. But they could. It sounds like a threat.